Marcus Thompson had learned to measure silence by its weight, the kind that pressed against your chest during family dinners, heavy with things no one dared to say. Tonight, at 26, he sat across from his older brother Derek in their childhood home in Portland's Pine Ridge neighborhood, watching steam rise from their mother's famous pot roast, while memories of their father's empty chair cast shadows across the table. The inheritance letter had arrived 3 weeks ago. Not money, but something more complicated. A family cabin nestled deep in the Mount Hood wilderness, left to both brothers by their late grandmother. The same cabin where Marcus had spent his teenage years hiding poetry notebooks under loose floorboards, where Derek had protected him from their father's drunken rages with bruised knuckles and fierce loyalty. Derek reached across the table, wedding ring catching the light, his calloused social worker hands steady as always. His husband Ryan sat beside him, all broad shoulders and easy confidence, the kind of personal trainer who made fitness look effortless. Marcus had liked Ryan immediately when Derek brought him home 2 years ago, appreciating how the man never flinched at pronouns or pride flags. But tonight, something felt different. Ryan's blue eyes lingered a beat too long when Marcus described his latest Nike campaign, designing user interfaces that made fitness accessible for disabled athletes. There was interest there that felt more personal than professional, a curiosity that made Marcus's skin prickle with an old familiar wariness. Their mother cleared her throat. Breaking the spell, she began sharing neighborhood gossip, her voice filling the space where their father's criticism used to live. Marcus half listened, instead watching Derek's face soften as Ryan's hand found his under the table. His brother deserved this happiness, this uncomplicated love that came without shame or secrecy. Derek had been the first person Marcus came out to at 18, sobbing in the same kitchen after their father discovered his sketchbooks filled with male figures. Derek had driven him to Portland State that night, helped him pack, never once asked if he was sure, just pure, protective love that asked for nothing in return. Now Derek was suggesting they renovate the cabin together, turn it into a retreat space, family healing through hammers and nails. He called it, always the social worker. Marcus agreed, not because he wanted to revisit those mountains, but because Derek's eyes held hope that Marcus couldn't bear to extinguish. Ryan leaned forward, voice warm with enthusiasm about hiking trails and gym equipment. His attention felt like sunlight, direct and warming. But Marcus had learned long ago that some warmth burns. Still, he found himself smiling back, caught off guard by how rare it felt to be seen by someone Derek loved. Sometimes the most dangerous moments arrive disguised as ordinary evenings, when you mistake interest for innocence and forget that not everyone who sees you wishes you well. The foundation for everything that would follow was laid that night, in laughter and shared dreams, while warning signs dressed themselves as welcome. Love doesn't always arrive with clear intentions, and sometimes the people closest to our hearts carry the deepest capacity to wound us. Subscribe to Heart Stories, where every family secret becomes a bridge to understanding. Ryan Mitchell had spent 32 years building walls around truths he couldn't name. The gym he owned in Southeast Portland was his sanctuary, all iron and sweat and simple physics where effort equaled results. No complicated feelings, no questions about the way his eyes tracked certain clients, no wondering why his marriage to Jennifer had felt like wearing clothes that never quite fit. His divorce 2 months ago had left him raw but strangely relieved. Jennifer's parting words still echoed in his mind like a bell he couldn't unring. "You never looked at me the way you look at other people." Ryan, she wasn't wrong, though she couldn't have known how right she was, or what those looks actually meant. Meeting Derek Thompson at a grief support group had felt like finding shore after drowning. Derek understood loss, understood the way trauma could twist you into shapes you didn't recognize. Their relationship had grown slowly, carefully, built on shared wounds and patient healing. Derek's love came without conditions. Without questions, Ryan couldn't answer. But Derek's brother was a complication Ryan hadn't anticipated. Marcus Thompson moved through the world with an ease Ryan envied desperately. Openly gay since college, comfortable in his skin, successful at Nike designing interfaces that help people move better through digital spaces. Everything Ryan had never allowed himself to be. The recognition hit him during their second family dinner. Marcus laughed at something their mother said, head tilted back, completely unguarded. And Ryan remembered. The photo tucked in his old gym membership files, from when his ex-wife dragged him to that CrossFit box in Northwest Portland 5 years ago. The picture the owner took of new members, Ryan standing stiff and uncertain next to a group of regulars. Marcus had been there, younger, quieter, clearly closeted, but participating in the gay-friendly Friday night sessions. Ryan remembered watching him move through workouts with focused determination. Remembered wondering what it would feel like to have that kind of self-possession. Now Marcus sat across from him, no longer hiding, and Ryan felt something crack open in his chest. Want mixed with resentment, mixed with recognition of something in himself he'd spent years burying. Derek squeezed his hand under the table, mistaking Ryan's silence for tiredness. His husband was everything good in the world, kind, patient, committed to healing broken systems and broken people. But Marcus represented something different, a path Ryan had never taken, choices he'd never made, authenticity he'd never claimed. When Marcus described coming out at 18, facing their father's rage and choosing truth over safety, Ryan felt the weight of his own cowardice like stones in his stomach. After dinner, Ryan offered to help clean up, anything to stay close to this family warmth he'd never experienced. Marcus stood at the sink washing dishes, sleeves rolled up, completely ordinary and completely unreachable. When their hands brushed reaching for the same plate, Marcus pulled back with a small smile, just politeness, just normal human contact. But Ryan felt it like electricity, like possibility, like danger. The recognition was mutual now. He was certain. The foundation was shifting beneath Ryan's carefully constructed life, and he wasn't sure he wanted to stop it from falling. The Mount Hood cabin sat like a forgotten prayer among towering Douglas firs, its weathered cedar walls holding 40 years of family secrets. Marcus stood on the sagging front porch, breathing mountain air sharp with pine and possibility, trying to shake the feeling that bringing Ryan here had been a mistake. 3 weeks into renovation, the pattern had become unmistakable. Ryan found reasons to work beside him, hands lingering when passing tools, conversations that steered toward Marcus's dating life with pointed curiosity. Derek, lost in his vision of family healing, remained obliviously optimistic while Marcus felt increasingly like prey, being studied by a patient hunter. The breakthrough moment came on a Tuesday morning when Derek left early for a building permit run in Portland. Marcus was alone, measuring windows for new frames, when Ryan emerged from the kitchen with 2 cups of coffee and that careful smile that never quite reached his eyes. "Thought you might need fuel," Ryan said, settling beside Marcus on the dusty floor. Too close, as always. But Marcus had stopped commenting. Each objection felt like acknowledgement of something neither should name. "Derek mentioned you used to come here a lot as a kid." Ryan's voice was casual, but his body was turned toward Marcus with predatory focus. "Must have been lonely, being different in a place like this." The words landed like stones in still water, ripples of implications spreading outward. Marcus looked up to find Ryan watching him with an expression he recognized from his own teenage years. Hunger disguised as curiosity, want wrapped in the safety of hypothetical questions. "It wasn't about being different," Marcus said carefully. "It was about being honest." "Right, honest." Ryan's laugh had an edge. "Must be nice, having that luxury." And there it was, the admission wrapped in accusation, the resentment that came with recognizing yourself in someone else's courage. Marcus felt the conversation shift into dangerous territory, the air between them charging with unspoken understanding. "Ryan." Marcus set down his tools, kept his voice level. "What exactly are you trying to say?" For a moment, Ryan looked young and lost, the confident trainer facade cracking to reveal something desperate underneath. "I'm saying some of us didn't get to choose when or how to be honest. Some of us had to build different kinds of lives." And now Marcus asked, though he dreaded the answer. Ryan moved closer, voice dropping to just above a whisper. Now I'm wondering what it would have been like, making different choices. The confession hung between them like a lit fuse. Marcus felt sympathy war with alarm, understanding colliding with the absolute certainty that this conversation needed to end before it began. Ryan, you're married to my brother. I love Derek. Ryan's voice was fierce, defensive. That's not what this is about. But Marcus could see it was exactly what it was about. The guilt and confusion and debarring that came with recognizing yourself too late, with building a life on a foundation of partial truths. This has to stop. Marcus stood, putting distance between them. Whatever this is, whatever you think you're exploring, it can't happen. Derek trusts both of us. Understanding complicated feelings doesn't justify acting on them, especially when those actions threaten the people we claim to love most. The Portland morning arrived gray and unforgiving, matching Marcus's mood as he sat in his downtown Nike office, staring at emails that blurred together into meaningless corporate speak. 2 days had passed since the cabin confrontation. 2 days of Ryan's calls going unanswered. Derek's confused texts asking why Marcus had suddenly decided to return to the city. He'd lied to Derek, claiming an urgent work deadline. The truth felt too explosive. Your husband is having an identity crisis and using me as collateral damage. Some conversations required more courage than Marcus could summon, especially when Derek's voice carried such genuine happiness whenever he talked about their progress on the cabin. The knock on his office door came at 3:15. Marcus looked up, expecting his colleague Sarah, but Ryan Mitchell filled the doorframe instead, wearing the expensive athleisure that marked him as belonging in this corporate world. His gym had a partnership with Nike, providing fitness programs for employees. Perfect cover for being here. Marcus realized with growing dread, we need to talk. Ryan stepped inside without invitation, closing the door with deliberate care. The action felt threatening in its precision. There's nothing to discuss. Marcus kept his voice level, professional, and this isn't the place. Isn't it? Ryan settled into the chair across from Marcus's desk with casual confidence. Your work on the adaptive fitness interface has been impressive. Really forward-thinking, making exercise accessible for people with disabilities. The compliment felt like a trap. Marcus waited, watching Ryan's face for the shift that would reveal his true purpose. Derek mentioned you consulted with several disability advocates during development, people who might not appreciate learning about your past behavior toward vulnerable individuals. There it was, the knife, presented with surgical precision. Marcus felt ice spread through his veins as Ryan's meaning became clear. What exactly are you implying? I'm not implying anything. I'm stating facts. Ryan leaned forward, his trainer's physique suddenly intimidating rather than admirable. You have a history of targeting people in complicated situations. Your brother told me about the inheritance dispute, how you manipulated family dynamics to get what you wanted. That's not what happened. Isn't it? You kissed your way through Derek's relationships whenever you felt slighted. That's a pattern. Marcus, predatory behavior toward people in vulnerable positions. The reframing was masterful in its cruelty, taking Marcus's teenage mistakes, removing all context of abuse and trauma, reshaping them into something that would destroy everything he'd built. His career at Nike depended on trust, on his reputation as someone who understood marginalized communities because he belonged to them. What do you want? Marcus asked, though he already knew. I want you to stop running away from what's happening between us. Ryan's voice softened, becoming almost gentle. I want you to admit that you feel it too. This connection. Ryan pulled out his phone, thumb hovering over the screen. Because I have Derek's contact information right here. Wonder what he'd think about his brother making unwanted advances during our cabin renovation. Sometimes the greatest courage is found not in fighting back, but in refusing to be pulled into someone else's destructive spiral. The call came at 6 in the morning. Derek's voice tight with controlled panic. Marcus, Ryan's missing. He didn't come home last night, and his phone goes straight to voicemail. His gym manager says he canceled all his appointments. Marcus sat up in his Portland apartment, sleep evaporating as the implications crystallized. 48 hours had passed since their office confrontation, 48 hours of waiting for the other shoe to drop. Now it had, but not in the direction he'd expected. Derek, I need to tell you something. Can you come over why I need to find Ryan? Trust me, this is connected. An hour later, Derek sat on Marcus's couch, hands wrapped around untouched coffee, listening to a story that reshaped everything he thought he knew about his marriage. Marcus spoke carefully, omitting nothing important but keeping the focus on facts rather than emotions. Derek's face went through stages: confusion, disbelief, hurt, anger, and finally something that looked like relief. I knew something was wrong. He's been different since we started the cabin project. Distant, but also intense in ways that didn't make sense. I should have told you immediately. Marcus felt the weight of his silence like stones. I thought I could handle it. Protect you from having to deal with this. Protect me. Derek's voice carried echoes of their childhood, when protection flowed both ways between them. Marcus, I'm a social worker. I deal with identity crises and threatening behavior every day. You don't get to decide what I can handle. Before Marcus could respond, his phone buzzed. Text from unknown number. Meeting tonight, Mount Hood parking lot, mile marker 15. Come alone or Derek sees everything. Derek read the message over Marcus's shoulder, his social worker training kicking in. That's not a request. It's a demand. Classic manipulation tactic. I have to go. Marcus was already reaching for his keys. If I don't, he'll follow through on his threats. We go together. Derek, no. This is exactly what he wants. To force some kind of confrontation that damages all of us. And that's exactly why I'm coming. Derek stood, sudden steel in his voice. Ryan is my husband. This is my marriage, and you're my brother here. Nobody handles this alone if it is stated. They found Ryan at the designated marker, sitting on his truck's tailgate like he'd been waiting hours. The mountain light made him look younger, more vulnerable. But Marcus could see the dangerous energy radiating from his posture. You brought him? Ryan's voice carried disappointment in something that might have been relief. I specifically said to come alone. Ryan, Derek approached it slowly, hands visible, using the same tone he employed with agitated clients. Let's talk about what's really going on. The confrontation that followed wasn't dramatic or explosive. It was quiet, honest, and devastating in its clarity. Derek spoke with professional calm about boundaries and consequences, while Ryan's justifications crumbled under gentle but relentless questioning. In the end, Ryan broke, not into anger, but into tears, admitting confusion and fear and jealousy he'd been carrying for years. The attraction to Marcus was real, but so was the self-hatred that came with recognizing himself in someone else's courage. I built my whole life on being someone I'm not, Ryan whispered, and when I saw Marcus, saw how easy authenticity looked on him, I wanted to take it instead of do the work myself. Derek sat beside him, not touching but present. Authenticity isn't easy for anyone. Marcus fought for it, paid real prices for it. You can't steal someone else's journey. The resolution wasn't simple or complete, but as they drove down from the mountains separately, Marcus felt something shift. Not just relief, but recognition that speaking truth, even when it felt dangerous, was always the path forward. Have you ever found the courage to speak difficult truths to someone you love, even when staying silent felt safer? Sometimes the greatest act of care is refusing to enable someone's harmful behavior, no matter how much pain they're carrying. Subscribe to Heart Stories, where every difficult conversation becomes a doorway to deeper connection, and every moment of courage opens space for authentic healing.